Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. Happy Friday, everybody. Today I want to talk to you about the Liketoys Metroplex and sort of a versus the Fanstoys Fortress Maximus. These are two completely different projects from two completely different companies. We're going to compare and contrast what we know about both companies. We know a lot about Fanstoys, very little about Liketoys, but what have we seen from the past? What do we expect to see from the future? We're talking about price, talking about availability, talking about features, talking about build, all this stuff coming up. So let's start about talking about Liketoys and what do we know about this company? What do we know about these people and what's been going on with them? Well, I was first introduced to them with amazing designs of 3D printed add-on kits, more of a build-up kit for combiners to bring them all to the 20-inch height. Now, what got my attention the most was the Predaking. I don't have that specific picture right now, but you can see it in this picture, how all of these from Zeta to DX9 to, I believe that's either their upgrade or a Toy World, one of those for Devastator, but all of these are about the same size because of the work that they've done. Now it's all 3D printed. The kits are usually $170, so they're not cheap, but the results, they look very good. Now, so far they've sold directly to the consumer. It's not like I could get them from Show Z or TF Source or anything like that. So that's somewhat of a concern because of the distribution thing. We're just used to getting stuff from a certain place. Now, we don't know exactly how they're going to distribute this Metroplex, but let's get into some of these Metroplex talking points. See, their design is Ultra G1, and they're coming at the exact right time. Like, you could not pick a more perfect time to put out a G1 massive masterpiece scale Metroplex than right now, because a lot of people had their Titans from Hasbro as their Citybots. Even though they didn't really scale properly, they were big. They were like 2 feet tall. And that's great. But the Metroplex from that one was a little bit IDW looking, not very G1. And now that we find out that the Metroplex we're getting coming up is not G1 at all, this is perfect timing. This figure actually does look amazing, and the thing about it is that it nails the G1 tune. You've got options with it so far, and it looks like they're putting a lot of time, thought, and effort into development, even though they're moving extremely fast with this project, just very fast. There's going to be a ton of features, such as a movable mouth. You're going to have him talk. It's not swappable faceplate. I actually saw a video where you could talk, and I am having some trouble getting videos to put in my video, so that's going to be a minimal thing that I do so far when I'm doing these types of videos. But still, it does look really cool with all of these gimmicks that they're using. This thing's going to have massive level of articulation, definitely compared to what Hasbro did, and it looks fantastic. This thing is on point design-wise to definitely compete with Fanstoys. It's on point design-wise to compete with pretty much anything out there. I don't think anyone's going to attempt making this aside from them. So then we kind of get into the next point. What about materials? We don't really know what the materials are going to look like. We do not know how good a plastic they're going to use. Probably no die cast. We don't have a point of reference from their 3D prints that they made in the past to what the production value of this is going to be going forward. But here's the thing, I trust they're just going to use standard plastic that's in most figures, and it's probably going to hold up, especially since they're much larger pieces, much larger chunks, not a bunch of small, flimsy flaps. The bigger pieces will probably hold up. Now, how's the hardware going to be and all of that kind of stuff? So there's still some questions, and it's still very questionable, especially since it's probably going to be very expensive. Now, we don't have the price just yet, but they say something about $1,000 is what's floating around. It's not going to cost $1,000 is what is floating around. Now, I didn't read that anywhere. I don't know where people are getting this, because I looked all through their Facebook page and I just don't see it anywhere in their comments or anything. So maybe I just missed it. But the thing about it, this is big. Like, that is Fanstoys on the left, I believe. And that Fanstoys one's about 2 foot tall. And so you're looking at 3.5 foot tall just to the waist. And so the rest of the way, this thing's going to be at least 5 foot tall. Now, they were originally talking about it being about 4 foot tall. But if you do the math on it, this thing's going to be 5 foot tall. And that's big. If not a little taller than that, That's big, and that's impressive, and that's massive. And for $1,000, if it's $1,000, I can kind of see where the money's going. Now, to reiterate, we do not know how the materials are going to be, the hardware, and all of that kind of stuff. We don't know about service after the sale. We don't know about ordering, specifications. How do you order it and pay for it? So there's still a lot of questions out there. A lot of questions, but we're sharing pretty much what we know is going on. We are going to have five different LED lights. You've got lights in the head, you got lights in the shoulders, and lights in the knees. Maybe a light in the chest too, so 6. And then also another thing that they're saying that you're going to get is swappable visor. Like the visor can go up and down. You can lift the head and the forehead and do all that kind of stuff. So lots of cool gimmicks. Still some questions about availability, price, and build. Now we want to talk about Fanstoys. What a reputation. Like, we know what we're going to get from Fanstoys for the most part. For the most part. And most of Fanstoys figures are top-notch, painted well, look amazing. They have the presence on the shelf. And for the most part, built well. Now, I heard their Terminus Giganticus had some problems with the hip joints, which I don't know. I don't really know. I don't have the figure. I went with the DX9. It was $215 cheaper, so I went with that one. And so for that, I'm happy with my DX9, and I have no problems with it whatsoever. But I hear multiple people complaining about the same thing, stability issues and joint issues with this. Now, does that mean Fanstoys does not know how to make a big figure? Well, that could kind of change the topic a bit. Let's say Fanstoys made this, and they realized they made some mistakes, and they learned from their mistakes, so that now then they can get into making bigger figures, and bigger figures better. They won't have the same issues in the past because they've learned from their mistakes. That's a way to look at it, and because of the reputation that Fanstoys has, generally they do learn from their mistakes. So I'm just going to chalk this up that I missed the picture. I didn't see a picture of a prototype of their combined figure. And so with that, I'm going to say it doesn't exist. We got digital renders in 2019. Is it 2019, something like that? Whenever we got these digital renders, and I have not personally seen a built figure. In fact, I don't know anybody that knows how it's going to combine, or even how to put the figures in combine mode. There is so much speculation, like if this is how it should be, but yet I look at what someone shows that this is how the leg or the arm is supposed to look, and then I look at this picture and I go, that doesn't match. So it's a bunch of question about this. It's taking them a long time to get this put out. Now, I know they're going to get it put out. And I know whatever solution they come up with, however many extra hundreds of dollars it's going to be, whatever solution they come up with is going to be solid because they've learned from their mistakes, or I believe they're going to learn from their mistakes, or they're about to make a really big one. So what do we know about their FT40, the Fanstoys version of a Fortress Maximus? Well, we don't know a lot. Well, there's just a little bit of information out there. This was actually something that most people thought we'll never ever see it, and it's just hype from Fanstoys for whatever reason. And so with this, I think what this did was encourage Liketoys. I think that the likes of Liketoys saw this, saw how long it's taking, and says, we could do that. We could do that, but let's give Metroplex. So when you think about it though, character-wise, I think way more people would rather have Metroplex than Fortress Maximus. That's just my opinion, and that's just my belief. But still, with Fanstoys, will we ever see it? Now, some people keep telling me we're going to see it by the end of the year. I don't believe it. You know, what's it going to look like, and when would we see a prototype, and those kinds of things. So I'm all excited. I want to see a prototype of it. I want to see the project move along. But it just seems like it's announced, and we get the Cerebros, which we'll talk about in a second, and then it's kind of brushed under the rug. Now, I don't know where people are getting information. We're going to get it by the end of the year, but that just seems like it's just not very feasible for a lot of reasons. Now, unlike Liketoys, Fanstoys has several projects, a multitude of projects that are really high-end Transformer projects that are in the works right now, alongside with reissues in between, I guess fighting a KO battle. So they got their plate full right now. But with that, they just released this Hannibal. I just got mine. I haven't even opened it yet, so I'm going to have a look at that thing and probably have a review up on that in a bit. But there's a couple of issues with this that have nothing to do with build quality or aesthetic and look and all that kind of stuff, is that this is going after the Japanese Headmasters line, and that Japanese Headmasters look, and not the US one, so will we see the US down the road? And with that, that tells us kind of what's the Fortress Maximus is going to look like. I mean, the actual Fortress Maximus doesn't look that much different than the US, the actual Big Bot, but the head looks so much different. The Cerebros looks vastly different. But all I gotta say is I'm excited that they're going this route and that they're taking on these headmasters. But I don't want to say it's an excuse or even give Fanstoys an excuse to push this FT40 off for another 5 years, but they have so much more going on, like trying to finish their combiners, like trying to come through on promises for Blitzwing and promises for their Outrider and all that kind of stuff, all at the same time. So looking at price, we have absolutely no clue what it's going to cost. But looking at Hannibal's $200, and it is a small fraction of the size of the Fort Max, and people are questioning $750 to $1,200, and I think $750 is just like we left that in 2019. That was 2019 pricing, but then again, we're starting to see Hannibal's $200. We thought Hannibal was going to be like $260 or something stupid like that. So some of the prices are coming down. Outrider's $150 instead of being something more like $180 or $200. But the pricing seems to be a little bit better, or the sales come shortly after. But that's another thing. I don't really think we're going to see Fort Max on sale show up and then go on clearance. I think it's going to be made in very limited quantities and based on pre-orders that have a big $150 down deposit. By the way, this is the face you're going to make when you find out the price of Fanstoys Fort Max. So I'm not going to discount Liketoys and the other products they make. They're working on a really nice looking Alpha Trion. They're working on more of their upgrade kits at the same time. So it's not like this is the absolute only thing they're doing, but this by far is their number one goal and concern. And I like that. You know, they're being aggressive at developing this thing and they're getting out in front of it, and I like that. Now, I would really like to be able to pre-order from Show Z or something like that. I'd like to be able to order it through a normal means, know the price, and all of that kind of stuff. It would be nice if someone can review this before people make $1,000 commitments on this stuff. We're getting into what's uncharted territory right now. And with Liketoys, I'm happy with it. A newer company that's more hungry than Fanstoys, because obviously they're more hungry than Fanstoys, could give us a better product, or at least give us a better value. And in my mind, or my head canon for this situation, I was thinking that Liketoys and Fanstoys are the same size. I think Liketoys is going to be a full foot taller than what we see from Fanstoys. Now that's just based off of the legs and the kind of size comparison we saw with that. But they did say it's only going to be 4 foot tall. But I don't believe it. I mean, it looks like something that's going to be 5 foot tall. So more information needed, I guess, in the future. But let's just be honest, as ridiculous as it is getting a 5 foot or 4 foot tall Masterpiece Transformer, it is just an awesome reality that's about to come true. I'm excited for it. I'm going to try to move things around financially to make it happen. And if so, that's going to be fun. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this. Are you in on this? Are you excited for this? Are you sitting on the sidelines and maybe going to get in or possibly miss out? I'm curious. Or are you looking the 5-year term for the Fanstoys one? They're different characters. They're not the same character. They're not replacement. But if you're only going to get one, which one would you get? Like and subscribe. My dear Hanger out.